Finding beauty in the ordinary is a rare but deeply transformative habit that intimately and meaningfully connects the spirit to the present moment. Imagine walking down the street and, instead of rushing by, allowing your eyes to notice the dance of leaves in the wind. Each leaf, with its unique journey, carries the imprint of the divine. It's not just a leaf falling, it's a reminder that nature has its own cadence, a rhythm that pulses in perfect harmony with the universe. This habit, of noticing the extraordinary in the everyday, invites us to slow down. In the rush of modern life, we often lose ourselves in thoughts of the future or memories of the past. Yet true spirituality resides in the now, and the present moment is the only portal to eternity. Recognizing spirituality in the small gestures of life, such as the warmth of a cup of tea in your hands or the laughter of a child playing in the distance, elevates us beyond the mundane. Mindfulness is the name many spiritual traditions and modern practices give to this ability to be present. Being present is not merely observing, it's feeling and being grateful. Gratitude is a powerful energy that amplifies our perception of the sacred in the ordinary. When you are thankful for something as simple as the aroma of freshly brewed coffee in the morning, you create space for spirituality to manifest in your daily life. This moment, which could easily go unnoticed, becomes a meditation in itself, a doorway to the divine. Consider a practical example. Imagine yourself sitting in a park. Birds are singing, soft footsteps echo in the distance, and a breeze gently brushes against your face. In this setting, instead of letting your thoughts drift to to-do lists or worries, focus on what surrounds you. Take a deep breath and feel how each element composes a unique symphony. This practice transforms ordinary perception into something profoundly spiritual. This shift in perspective not only connects us to the present moment but also teaches us about gratitude and humility. You don't need to climb a mountain or travel to a sacred site to feel connected to the universe. The sacred is here now in every detail life offers. All it takes is looking with curious eyes and an open heart. If finding beauty in the ordinary feels challenging, start small. Dedicate a few minutes each day to observing something seemingly simple and reflecting on its complexity. It could be the movement of clouds, the colors of a sunset, or the rhythm of ocean waves. By practicing this conscious attention, you train your mind and heart to perceive the extraordinary in all aspects of life. Ultimately, the habit of finding beauty in the ordinary teaches us that spirituality is not something we seek outside ourselves but something we discover by opening our senses and soul to the present moment. Life, in all its simplicity, is a divine masterpiece. By seeing this, we draw closer to our purpose, our essence, and our connection to the whole. Listening more than speaking is an act of profound respect, not just for others but for yourself and the universe around you. Silence, so often underestimated, is one of the most powerful spiritual practices. It allows us to grasp not only the words spoken but also the energies that underpin them. When we listen, we create space to understand on a deeper level, beyond the obvious, beyond the superficial. Think about the last time someone truly listened to you. Not just heard your words but felt your emotions, understood your pauses, and recognized your essence. That kind of listening is rare but deeply transformative. And it is this kind of listening that characterizes a spiritual person. When we listen actively, we become channels of empathy and compassion, offering others the opportunity to feel truly seen and embraced. Listening more than speaking also means being present in the moment. We're not just waiting for our turn to respond or planning what to say next. We are fully here and now, absorbing what the other person has to share. This habit extends beyond human interaction. It connects us to the silence that permeates nature and the inner space where our intuition resides. In many spiritual traditions, silence is revered as a portal to the divine. Wise sages and mystics often sought silence as a way to connect with greater truth. This is because silence allows the layers of distraction to dissolve, revealing the pure essence of what is being said or felt. When we listen more than we speak, we become not only receivers of words but also interpreters of the energies and intentions beneath them. This habit, however, is not limited to external silence. Listening more also means listening to yourself. Often, our inner voices are filled with wisdom but are drowned out by the constant noise of the mind. When we allow ourselves to listen to our thoughts, emotions, and intuitions without judgment, we create space for healing and self-understanding. Practices like meditation and journaling are excellent tools for cultivating this inner listening. Imagine being in a conversation with the universe. Every leaf swaying in the wind, every bird's song, or every sound of rain is a subtle message waiting to be heard. When we actively listen, even to seemingly simple things, we begin to notice patterns, answers, and signs that previously went unnoticed. We become receptive to the wisdom the universe constantly shares with us. Listening more than speaking also helps us develop an essential skill: discerning what truly needs to be said. Many words are spoken out of habit or fear of silence, but when we learn to value the power of listening, our words become more intentional and impactful. Speaking then becomes a choice, not a necessity, a meaningful contribution to the dialogue, whether with another person, nature, or our own self. In the end, listening more than speaking is not just a habit but a state of being. It is the ability to be present, to offer space to others, and to allow the universe to reveal itself in its eloquent silence. This habit reminds us that spirituality is not just about what we do or say but about the quality of our presence. A presence that welcomes, respects, and deeply connects with everything around us. Questioning everything is one of the most profound practices of a spiritual journey. It's a habit that challenges the comfort of the known, pushing us toward uncharted territories of self-awareness and universal understanding. When we allow ourselves to question, we choose to expand the boundaries of our minds and make room for truth to reveal itself in unexpected ways. Since ancient times, great philosophers and mystics have emphasized the value of questioning. Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, declared that an unexamined life is not worth living. He believed that questions were the key to accessing deeper truths. The same principle applies to the spiritual path. Questioning everything, our beliefs, patterns, and worldview, is essential for growth and for aligning with our most authentic essence. True spirituality is not conformity but active seeking. Questioning everything means not accepting things simply because they have always been so or because we were told to believe them. Instead, it is a practice of diving deep and asking, does this resonate with me? Does this reflect my truth? Am I living in alignment with what I believe to be real? These questions are like lamps illuminating the dark corners of our being, bringing to light what needs to be examined and often transformed. This habit of questioning extends beyond external matters like religion, society, or culture. It also delves into our inner world. Questions like, why did I react that way? What are the roots of this fear? Or what is my purpose? Guide us inward, where the most important answers often lie hidden. It is in this process of introspection that we connect with the voice of the divine within us. Questioning everything also helps us discern between the illusions of the ego and the wisdom of the soul. Often, we are trapped in thought or behavior patterns that do not reflect who we truly are but who we think we should be. Asking questions with honesty and courage helps us peel back these layers and discover our essence. It's like peeling an onion, removing layer after layer until we reach the core. A practical example of this habit can be found in moments of conflict or challenge. Instead of simply reacting, pause and ask, what is this trying to teach me? Or how can I grow from this? These questions shift your perspective, transforming obstacles into opportunities for learning. This doesn't mean challenges become easy, but they gain a higher purpose within the context of our spiritual journey. The habit of questioning also brings us closer to humility. Acknowledging that we don't know everything and that there is always more to learn keeps us open and receptive. This is the spirit of a true seeker, someone who understands that every answer is just a doorway to new questions. Thus, the journey never ends. It becomes a continuous flow of discovery and growth. However, it's important to remember that questioning everything does not mean living in constant doubt. Instead, it's a balance between questioning and trusting. It's like navigating a river. You question to find the best path, but you also trust the water's flow to guide you. The same is true in spirituality. We question to grow but trust the process and the universe to take us where we need to be. In the end, questioning everything is an act of courage. It is a declaration that we are committed to truth, even if it means deconstructing our oldest and most comforting beliefs. It's a practice that frees us from limitations and connects us to the infinite. Because when we allow ourselves to question, we create space for transformation, and ultimately, enlightenment. Practicing non-attachment is one of the most challenging and transformative habits for a spiritual person. It is an act that defies the human tendency to hold on, to control, to accumulate, whether materially, emotionally, or mentally. Yet paradoxically, it is by letting go that we find true freedom, lightness, and inner peace. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with stones while climbing a mountain. Each stone represents an attachment, an expectation, an unmet desire, a fear of what may come. The journey becomes heavier with every step. Practicing non-attachment is the act of opening the backpack, removing the stones one by one, and finally feeling the relief of walking unburdened by the unnecessary. Spirituality teaches us that impermanence is one of life's few certainties. Everything we see, feel, or possess is in constant change. Flowers bloom and wither, waves rise and fall, seasons shift. Resisting this truth creates suffering, while accepting it sets us free. Non-attachment is not indifference but a recognition that nothing is permanent, and therefore we should cherish things while they are present, without clinging to them desperately. Practicing non-attachment begins with a deep understanding that we are not our possessions, our relationships, or even our thoughts. These are aspects of our experience but do not define who we are. When we identify with what we own or who we are with, we create a bond of dependency that inevitably brings suffering when these things change or leave. On a material level, non-attachment means not being controlled by the things we own. It doesn't imply giving everything up and living in poverty but rather being at peace with both abundance and scarcity. It's about appreciating what we have without fearing its loss and sharing generously, knowing we are not limited by what we accumulate. On an emotional level, non-attachment involves letting go of expectations. How often do we suffer because we expect someone to act a certain way or life to follow a specific plan? Non-attachment teaches us to accept people as they are and life as it is without trying to control them. This doesn't mean we shouldn't set goals or pursue dreams, but we should do so without forming a rigid emotional bond to the outcomes. Mental non-attachment, perhaps the most challenging, requires releasing our ideas, beliefs, and opinions. These often become part of our identity. However, spiritual growth demands that we be willing to question and sometimes let go of what we thought was true to embrace new perspectives. Like a river flowing freely, our mind must remain flexible and open, not stuck on the rocks of fixed ideas. Spiritual practices can help cultivate non-attachment. Meditation, for instance, teaches us to observe our thoughts and feelings without clinging to them. Visualizing ourselves cutting cords that bind us to things, people, or situations can be a powerful tool for release. Another simple practice is consciously giving thanks for what we have, acknowledging that everything is temporary and therefore precious. Consider the power of forgiveness as an act of non-attachment. Forgiving is not just releasing the other person but also releasing ourselves from the weight of resentment. It is one of the most profound ways to practice emotional non-attachment, allowing us to move forward without carrying the burdens of the past. In the end, non-attachment teaches us to live in the flow of the universe, trusting that everything we need will come to us at the right time and that what must leave will make space for the new. It's a dance between holding lightly and releasing gracefully. When we practice non-attachment, we discover that true freedom lies not in possessing or controlling but in allowing life to flow through us, like a river that never clings to a single drop. Appreciating moments of solitude is a rare habit in a world that values constant interaction and external connection. Yet for those on a spiritual path, solitude is not seen as something to avoid but as a sacred space for self-discovery and reconnection. Solitude, when embraced with an open heart, becomes an internal temple, a place where we can hear our own voice, free from the noise and expectations of the world. Often, solitude is mistaken for isolation or abandonment. However, there is a profound difference between being alone and feeling lonely. Spiritual solitude is not a state of lack but of fullness. It is the moment we meet ourselves face to face without distractions, masks, or haste. It is like sitting before a mirror that reflects not only who we are but also who we are becoming. These moments of solitude are opportunities to reconnect with our inner truth. When we are constantly surrounded by people, responsibilities, and noise, it is easy to lose touch with our own feelings and thoughts. Solitude gives us the space to listen to what our soul is trying to say, to process emotions, and to discover what truly matters to us. Appreciating solitude is also an act of courage. Facing oneself is often more challenging than facing the world. In stillness, we may encounter both light and shadow, parts of ourselves we may have ignored or repressed. But it is in this honest meeting that true healing begins. By allowing ourselves to be alone, we embrace not only our gifts but also our vulnerabilities, recognizing that both are integral to who we are. Cultivating moments of solitude can be as simple as setting aside a few minutes each day to be silent, away from screens, noise, and distractions. It can be a solitary walk in nature, where each step becomes a meditation, or a moment of contemplation in a quiet room, observing our thoughts as they pass like clouds in the sky. These small rituals of solitude help us build a deeper relationship with ourselves. Solitude also strengthens our self-compassion. When we learn to enjoy our own company, we discover that we are enough, that we do not need to seek validation or completeness externally. This empowers us to create healthier relationships, as we no longer depend on others to fill emotional gaps. Instead, we approach others with a full heart, ready to share, not demand. For those who feel resistant to the idea of being alone, it can be helpful to start small. Perhaps a simple moment of silence in the morning before the day begins, or a quiet pause before bedtime. Over time, these moments can expand, and solitude will cease to be feared, becoming a source of comfort and inspiration. Historically, many great spiritual masters sought solitude for clarity and enlightenment. Buddha meditated under the Bodhi tree in complete solitude. Jesus retreated to the desert to pray. These examples show us that in stillness, there is a direct connection to the divine. It is in the absence of distractions that we can hear the voice of the universe and feel its presence in our very breath. Appreciating moments of solitude is, ultimately, a celebration of who we are. It is a reminder that even when we are alone, we are never truly lonely. There is an entire universe within us, waiting to be explored, understood, and loved. By honoring these moments, we become more whole, more authentic, and more connected to the whole. Feeling a deep connection with nature is like returning to a primordial home, a space of belonging that transcends words and explanations. Spirituality and nature are intricately intertwined, for nature is, at its essence, a tangible manifestation of the divine. When we allow ourselves to observe its landscapes, cycles, and mysteries, we find reflections of our own inner journey. Imagine the movement of the tides, the blossoming of trees, the flight of birds. Every detail in nature is a perfect expression of harmony and balance. There is no rush, no resistance, only a natural flow, a cycle that repeats itself, teaching us the importance of being in sync with the rhythm of the universe. Feeling this deep connection with nature is recognizing that we are part of this grand whole, that we are not separate from the natural world but intrinsically connected to it. When we walk barefoot on the earth, something extraordinary happens. We feel the energy of the earth flowing into us, as if reminding us that no matter how far we may feel, we can always return home. This simple act of touching the ground with our feet reconnects us to ancient wisdom, a grounding and renewing energy that helps us find balance and stability. Nature also teaches us precious lessons about patience and acceptance. Observe a tree in a storm. It does not resist the wind but bends, flowing with it until the calm returns. In moments of challenge, we can find inspiration in its resilience, learning to flow with adversities rather than fight against them. Every leaf, every drop of rain, every ray of sunlight carries subtle messages, waiting to be deciphered by those willing to listen. Connecting deeply with nature doesn't require grand gestures. It's something we can cultivate in small moments, feeling the breeze on your face, gazing at a starry sky, or listening to the sound of water flowing in a stream. These simple experiences have the power to bring us back to the present moment, the here and now, where all our strength and clarity reside. Nature is also a mirror for our emotions. The roar of a storm may reflect our anger or inner turbulence, while the serenity of a lake can remind us of the peace we seek. Engaging with the natural world offers opportunities to process and release our feelings. Often the elements, earth, water, fire, and air, serve as allies in our spiritual journey. Burying your feet in the sand, immersing yourself in a river, or lighting a candle are practices that help harmonize your energy with that of the universe. Cultivating this connection with nature also awakens a deep sense of gratitude. When we recognize the gift of each sunset, each blooming flower, each arriving and departing season, we begin to view life differently, not as something to take for granted, but as a precious offering to honor and preserve. Historically, many spiritual traditions have revered nature as sacred. Native Americans, for example, regarded the earth as a generous mother who nurtures and sustains all beings. In Taoism, balance with the natural elements is considered essential for spiritual harmony. These traditions remind us that by honoring nature, we honor ourselves as we are inseparable from it. A powerful practice to deepen this connection is the meditative walk. Instead of walking with haste or distraction, take time to walk slowly, observing every detail around you. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, listen to the surrounding sounds, and breathe in the fresh air deeply. These moments not only connect us to nature but also remind us that we are part of something vast and incredibly beautiful. Ultimately, feeling a deep connection with nature is feeling connected to your own spirit. It serves as a reminder that we are more than our thoughts, more than our worries. We are part of an infinite cosmic dance where every tree, every river, and every star plays a role, just as we do. By cultivating this connection, we discover not only peace but also a renewed sense of purpose and belonging. Embracing vulnerability is one of the most courageous and transformative acts on the spiritual journey. In a world that often values external strength and perfection, allowing yourself to be vulnerable is an act of resistance and, at the same time, a portal to authenticity. Vulnerability reminds us that beneath the layers we build to protect ourselves lies a shared humanity, a common essence that connects us to one another and to the divine. When we think of vulnerability, we often associate it with weakness. In reality, it is a sign of inner strength. Expressing our emotions, admitting our limitations, or sharing our fears doesn't diminish who we are. In fact, it frees us from the weight of disguise. By allowing ourselves to be seen as we truly are, with our pain, uncertainties, and even our failures, we create space for genuine and profound connections with others and with ourselves. Vulnerability is also a gateway to healing. When we suppress emotions or pretend everything is fine, we place barriers between ourselves and the possibility of transformation. It is in the honesty of what we feel that liberation begins. Admitting we are hurt, lost, or scared is the first step to processing and overcoming these emotions. Vulnerability allows us to acknowledge our wounds so we can heal them, rather than carrying them as invisible scars. In spirituality, embracing vulnerability is fundamental to surrendering to the flow of the universe. Acknowledging that we don't have all the answers, that we're not always in control, opens us to the greater wisdom guiding our journey. It's a form of surrender, not as giving up but as trust. Trust that even in our most fragile moments, we are being supported by something greater than ourselves. Accepting vulnerability also teaches us the art of compassion. When we recognize our own struggles and imperfections, it becomes easier to understand and accept those of others. From this place of empathy, we can form more authentic connections where masks and defenses are unnecessary. It is in the shared space of vulnerability that human relationships become truly sacred. One of the most powerful ways to embrace vulnerability is through honest communication. When we speak about our feelings and experiences without fear of judgment, we show others it's safe to do the same. This doesn't mean sharing everything with everyone, but rather opening our hearts to those we trust. These honest conversations build bridges that transcend the surface and reach the core of who we are. Embracing vulnerability also means accepting our own mistakes and imperfections. At some point, we've all clung to the idea that we must be perfect to be worthy of love and respect. In truth, it is our imperfections that make us human, that connect us, and that allow us to grow. Acknowledging our mistakes is not only an act of humility but also of courage, as it shows we are willing to learn and change. Moreover, vulnerability draws us closer to a state of gratitude. When we allow ourselves to be open about our struggles, we begin to notice the support, kindness, and lessons that surround us. This openness to give and receive, free from pride or shame, places us in a deep state of gratitude for what we have, even during difficult times. Practices like journaling, meditation, and therapy can be powerful tools to cultivate vulnerability. Writing about our feelings in a safe, private space helps us process them without fear of judgment. Meditating on our emotions without repressing them teaches us to simply be with them, accepting them as part of our experience. And in many cases, seeking support from a therapist or spiritual mentor can help us navigate the challenges of opening our hearts. Ultimately, embracing vulnerability is an act of self-love. It is a declaration that we are worthy, not despite our weaknesses but because of them. Our vulnerabilities are portals to our growth and windows to our soul. By accepting them, we draw closer to our true selves and align with the strength of the universe, which always welcomes what is authentic and true. Transforming pain into wisdom is one of the greatest alchemies of the spiritual journey. Pain, often seen as an obstacle or burden, can actually be a catalyst for growth and inner transformation. Though its presence is uncomfortable, it offers an invaluable opportunity, the chance to reconnect with our deepest strengths, rediscover our purpose, and emerge stronger and more conscious. Pain can take many forms: loss, failure, rejection, emotional or physical challenges. Each painful experience carries a unique lesson, even if, in the moment, it's difficult to see beyond the suffering. Looking back, we often realize that our moments of greatest pain led to periods of the greatest clarity and change. Just as coal under immense pressure becomes a diamond, our souls can shine more brightly after transformative challenges. It's important to remember that pain should not be ignored or repressed. When we avoid facing it, it remains within us, quietly shaping our decisions and perspectives. Confronting pain head-on is an act of courage and self-love. It doesn't mean diving into suffering without end, but rather acknowledging its presence and exploring the messages it carries. Every moment of discomfort, every tear, is an invitation to deepen our understanding of ourselves. Many spiritual masters have taught that while pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. The difference lies in how we choose to respond to pain. We can resist it, blame others, and sink into bitterness, or we can accept it as part of the human experience and allow it to transform us. When we open ourselves to learn from pain, it ceases to be a destructive force and becomes an ally in our growth. Transforming pain into wisdom begins with acceptance. Acknowledge the pain without judging it or yourself for feeling it. Give yourself permission to feel what needs to be felt. Validating your emotions is already a powerful step toward healing. Allow yourself to cry, write about what you're going through, or simply sit in silence with your feelings. This process of acceptance creates space for lessons to emerge. Reflection is also an essential step. Ask yourself, what is this experience trying to teach me? What patterns, beliefs, or behaviors need transformation within me? Often, pain reveals areas of our lives where we need to grow, let go, or change. It may show us the importance of forgiveness, both for ourselves and others, or help us discern what truly matters. Practices like journaling and meditation can be powerful tools in this process. Writing about your experiences and feelings allows you to identify patterns and insights that might have been hidden. Meditation, on the other hand, calms the mind and creates an internal space where answers can naturally emerge. Additionally, seeking support from trusted people, friends, family, or therapists, can be fundamental in transforming pain. Sharing your journey with someone who listens without judgment can lighten the burden you carry and bring new perspectives. Often, wisdom arises not only from individual reflection but also from the connections we make with others. Nature is also a powerful ally in this process. Spending time outdoors, feeling the wind, listening to the sound of water, or gazing at the stars, can bring a sense of renewal and perspective. Nature reminds us that just as the seasons change, our pain too will pass, giving way to new opportunities to flourish. By transforming pain into wisdom, we realize that every challenge, no matter how difficult, has the potential to bring us closer to our essence. We discover that we are more resilient than we imagined, more capable of love, and more connected to the whole. Every scar we carry tells a story of overcoming and strength, becoming a testament to our spiritual journey. Ultimately, pain teaches us that we are not defined by our difficult experiences but by how we face them and what we choose to do with them. It invites us to look beyond immediate suffering and see the horizon of possibilities opening before us. When we transform pain into wisdom, we not only heal ourselves but also become a source of inspiration and healing for those around us. Trusting the flow of the universe is an act of faith and surrender that invites us to release the reins of control and dance with the natural rhythm of life. Often, we are taught to believe that we must plan, control, and shape every aspect of our existence to achieve what we desire. However, there is profound wisdom in learning to flow with what life presents, allowing the universe to reveal its greater purpose in its own time. The concept of trusting the flow of the universe is not passive but deeply active. It requires us to cultivate the ability to observe, listen, and align our intentions with what life offers. It's like navigating a river. Instead of fighting against the current, we learn to use its strength to move harmoniously with it. This trust does not eliminate effort but redirects it, making it more effective and less draining. This practice begins with accepting that we cannot control everything. The universe is vast and interconnected, operating in dimensions and synchronicities often beyond our immediate understanding. Trusting the flow means recognizing that a greater intelligence guides events, even when we cannot see the full picture. It's accepting that what seems like an obstacle may, in fact, be a redirection leading us to something greater and more aligned with our purpose. This trust is especially tested during difficult times, when plans fall apart, paths become uncertain, and answers seem out of reach. In these moments, the natural impulse is to resist, to fight against what is happening, and to try to force a solution. However, trusting the flow means allowing the moment to be what it is, without resistance or judgment. It means asking, what is this trying to teach me? How can I grow from this experience? For many, this idea may feel challenging, but spiritual practices can help cultivate this trust. Meditation, for instance, teaches us to be present in the moment, without clinging to the past or worrying about the future. Each breath is a reminder that life flows continuously and that we are part of this eternal movement. During meditation, you might visualize yourself as a leaf gently carried by a stream, trusting that the flow will take you where you need to be. Gratitude is another powerful practice to strengthen this trust. By being thankful for what we have and for what life has brought us so far, even challenges, we begin to see that every experience has value. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is missing to what is already present, allowing us to view the universal flow with clearer eyes and an open heart. A fundamental aspect of trusting the flow of the universe is surrender. Surrender is not giving up or passively accepting every circumstance, but rather letting go of attachment to specific outcomes. It's telling the universe, I trust that what is happening now is part of something greater, even if I don't fully understand it yet. This surrender frees us from anxiety and fear, creating space for serenity and clarity. Nature is a great teacher in this regard. Observe how rivers find their path, how trees grow toward the light, how the seasons change effortlessly. There is no hurry, no resistance, just a quiet trust in the natural rhythm of things. We can learn much by aligning ourselves with this rhythm, allowing life to show us the way instead of forcing it to follow our plans. Trusting the flow of the universe also means trusting ourselves. It means believing that we have the strength, resilience, and wisdom to handle whatever life brings. As we learn to listen to our intuition and follow the whispers of our heart, we become more aligned with the universal flow, creating a harmonious partnership between ourselves and the energy around us. Ultimately, trusting the flow is not something you do once and forget. It's a daily practice, a constant reminder that even in life's storms, there is a divine order at work. And as we learn to trust, we realize that life is not against us but always working in our favor, even when the path is unclear. In this trust, we find freedom, peace, and the deep certainty that wherever the flow takes us, we will be exactly where we need to be. Fearlessness of the unknown is one of the most liberating and transformative qualities we can cultivate on our spiritual journey. The unknown, often perceived as a realm of uncertainty and insecurity, is, in truth, a fertile field of infinite possibilities. It is there, beyond the limits of what we know, that the deepest growth occurs, where we encounter not just new experiences but also new parts of ourselves. Embracing the unknown requires courage, not the absence of fear but the willingness to move forward despite it. Spirituality teaches us that by facing the unknown, we are not merely venturing into something external but exploring a reflection of our own internal mystery. After all, we are as vast as the universe around us, and every step toward the external unknown is also a step toward understanding our inner potential. The unknown is where transformation happens. When we remain in the comfort of what we already know, we limit our possibilities for growth. Only by crossing the thresholds of what is familiar can we discover abilities we never knew we had, find new passions, and redefine our purpose. Human history is full of examples of individuals who embraced the unknown and, in doing so, changed their lives, and often the course of the world. Think of the unknown as a dense forest that, at first glance, appears intimidating. You don't know what you will find upon entering, but it is there that true magic resides. Among the shadows lie trails leading to sunlit clearings, where beauty and peace await. Every step into the darkness is guided by faith, a force that illuminates the path even when light seems absent. Faith is, indeed, what helps us navigate the unknown, not blind faith but trust in the flow of life and the intelligence of the universe. When we trust that there is a greater purpose at work, even when we cannot see it, we become less resistant to change and more open to opportunities. This faith allows us to face the unknown with curiosity instead of fear, with expectation instead of anxiety. Another important aspect of embracing the unknown is understanding that uncertainty is a natural and necessary part of life. Without it, there would be no room for surprise, learning, or creativity. The unknown is where all that is new is born. Every idea, invention, or discovery began as something unknown, challenging those with the courage to explore it. When we see the unknown this way, it ceases to be a threat and becomes a promise. To cultivate this acceptance, practices like meditation can be incredibly helpful. Meditating on the concept of not knowing is a powerful way to become comfortable with uncertainty. Instead of seeking immediate answers, we allow questions to remain open, trusting that the answers will come at the right time. This practice teaches us to be at peace with mystery, accepting that not everything needs to be understood to be lived. Visualization is another valuable practice. Picture yourself navigating a boat on open seas, with no defined destination but with the certainty that the wind and currents will carry you exactly where you need to be. Visualizing yourself moving forward with confidence and serenity can help you face the unknown in your life with greater ease. The unknown also invites us to develop our intuition. When we lack a clear roadmap, intuition becomes our compass, guiding us through a deeper, internal knowledge. Learning to listen to and trust this inner guide is a skill that grows stronger each time we dare to venture beyond the boundaries of the familiar. Ultimately, it's essential to remember that the unknown is not just a space of challenges but also one of great rewards. It is where dreams come true, unexpected connections are made, and life reveals its capacity to surprise and delight. By opening ourselves to the unknown, we also open ourselves to the magic of the universe, to the gifts it has in store for us, discoverable only when we step out of our comfort zones. So do not fear the unknown. See it as an invitation to adventure, a chance to expand your consciousness and experience life in its fullness. After all, the unknown is not a place to avoid but the very stage upon which the grand journey of life unfolds. Cultivating laughter and joy is one of the most powerful yet underestimated habits of an authentic spiritual journey. Spirituality is often associated with austere seriousness, as if inner growth must always be profound and introspective. But laughter, with its lightness and simplicity, is a divine expression that connects us directly to our purest, freest essence. It is the language of a soul in ecstasy, a bridge to gratitude and acceptance of the present moment. Laughter is not just a reflection of joy, it is also a tool for healing. When we laugh, we create space within ourselves for light to enter, dissipating the shadows of worry and tension. Science has shown that laughter releases endorphins, the happiness hormones, reduces stress and boosts the immune system. Spiritually, it invites us to let go of control, abandon perfectionism, and simply be, reminding us that life doesn't always need to be taken so seriously. There is a special magic in spontaneous laughter. It is a surrender to the moment, an authentic response that transcends the intellect. When we laugh, we set aside the weight of our worries and open ourselves to the natural flow of life. Laughter teaches us to be present, to savor the now, and to recognize that even in challenges, there is beauty and lightness waiting to be discovered. Joy is also a deliberate spiritual practice. It's not about ignoring or escaping life's difficulties but about actively choosing to find reasons to smile, even in the simplest circumstances. A golden sunset, a bird's song, the warm touch of a friend's hand. These small moments are constant reminders that joy is always within reach if we are willing to notice it. To cultivate laughter and joy, it's important to surround yourself with people who bring lightness and inspiration into your life. The energy of laughter is contagious. When shared with others, it creates a web of positivity that ripples outward. Moreover, allowing yourself to laugh at your own flaws is a way to practice humility and detachment. Recognizing your imperfections with humor dissolves the weight of self-judgment and reminds you of your humanity, something to embrace, not resist. Practices like laughter meditation, where laughter is consciously induced, may seem odd at first but have a transformative impact. By deliberately laughing, even without a specific reason, you give your body and mind the opportunity to connect with this elevated vibration. Before long, forced laughter becomes genuine, bringing a lightness that transcends the moment. Laughter also helps us build emotional resilience. It doesn't erase life's challenges but gives us the strength to face them with a more balanced perspective. When we learn to find humor in situations, even subtly, we transform obstacles into opportunities for growth. Laughter reminds us that, no matter how serious a situation may seem, there is always room for a bit of lightness. Joy, like laughter, can also be cultivated through gratitude. When we focus on what is good and beautiful in our lives, even amidst difficulties, we create a solid foundation for joy to flourish. This practice doesn't require grand gestures or extraordinary circumstances. It is built on recognizing daily blessings, food on the table, a friend's embrace, the warmth of the sun on our skin. Cultivating laughter and joy is not only a gift to yourself but also to the world around you. When you radiate joy, you inspire others to do the same. Your presence becomes a reminder that spirituality doesn't have to be solely introspective and solemn. It can also be vibrant and full of life. You become a light, showing that the spiritual journey is as much about living fully as it is about reflecting deeply. So let yourself laugh. Let yourself seek and create moments of joy even on hard days. Life, with all its complexities, always offers something to smile about. By embracing this, you not only elevate your own vibration but also contribute to a lighter, more loving and fulfilled world. Living with intention is one of the most transformative habits a spiritual person can cultivate. In a world often marked by automation and haste, living with intention calls us to slow down, pay attention, question, and above all, consciously choose how we engage with life. It is an act of self-love and a deep connection to the higher purpose that guides us. When we live with intention, we assign meaning to every action, even those that might seem small or insignificant. Every gesture, thought, and word becomes an expression of our deepest essence, a reflection of who we choose to be. Intention transforms the mundane into the sacred, elevating seemingly ordinary tasks into rituals of presence and meaning. A simple act, like drinking a cup of tea, can become a moment of connection to the present when done with full attention and gratitude. The first step to living intentionally is becoming aware of our choices. Too often we move through our days on autopilot, reacting to circumstances rather than creating them. Living with intention means waking up to the fact that, in every moment, we have the power to decide how we relate to what surrounds us. It is the practice of asking yourself, does this reflect who I truly am? Is this aligned with my values and purpose? The concept of intention is closely tied to the energy we bring to our actions. When we act with clarity of purpose, our actions become more powerful and effective. This doesn't mean we need to have all the answers or a meticulous plan for every aspect of our lives. On the contrary, living intentionally often means embracing the unknown with an open heart while being guided by clear values and a desire to create meaning. Simple practices can help us bring more intention into our daily lives. One is to start each morning by setting a purpose for the day. This could be something as simple as, today, I will be present in all my interactions, or I will choose gratitude over complaint. Writing these intentions in a journal or meditating on them for a few minutes upon waking can create a powerful focus that shapes the tone of the entire day. Another transformative practice is to pause regularly throughout the day to reconnect with your intention. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to stray from what truly matters. By setting aside moments to stop, breathe deeply, and remember your purpose, you regain clarity and alignment, preventing the dispersion of your energy. Living with intention also means being present in everything you do. When we are fully present, our actions become more meaningful and our impact deeper. This can be applied to anything from conversations with loved ones to the work we do. When we approach these experiences with mindfulness and clear intention, we create more authentic connections and more satisfying outcomes. Intention doesn't just guide our actions, it also shapes how we perceive the world. When we live intentionally, we develop a more attentive eye for the opportunities the universe presents. We begin to notice the small miracles that previously went unnoticed, the beauty of a blooming flower, the smile of a stranger, or the synchronicity of events orchestrated for our growth. Moreover, living with intention helps us cultivate a life aligned with our deepest values. Instead of being swept away by external demands or societal expectations, we find our center within ourselves. From this place of clarity, we can make decisions that reflect who we truly are, rather than who we think we should be. Ultimately, living with intention is a practice of self-compassion. It's not about striving for perfection or being constantly clear and purposeful. There will be days when we feel disconnected or when our intentions seem unclear. That's part of the journey. What matters is continuing to return, to choose, and to remain open to the possibility of living a more conscious, aligned, and intentional life. By embracing this habit, we discover that spirituality is not separate from daily life but permeates every aspect of it. Living with intention allows us to bring the sacred into the present, making every moment an opportunity to express our essence and connect with the divine within and around us.